A country car dealer told his carpenter that he wanted a particular type of table for his entryway. So the carpenter took off into the woods and was gone for 3 days. When he finally returned, the salesman said, "I don't believe it! 3 days just to get some wood?" The carpenter looked at the doubting salesman and said, "Finding wood is an art. It could take 3 years. First, I meditate until my mind slows down and my aggression disappears. At that point, all I feel is love and compassion. Only then can I go to the forest to find the right tree. When I'm in this thought-free state, I can then ask the forest who's willing to become a table. When I get an answer, and a tree agrees wholeheartedly, only then do I proceed. Otherwise, who am I to cut wood?"
The deepest and most beautiful religion there is, in fact, the only real religion that there is the religion of the heart. Not the religion of books and Bibles and people and men and ministers and movements, but of the movement of the heart, the way of the heart. In my personal opinion, we've gotten way away from what real religion is all about. Jesus didn't come to build congregations and churches, neither did Buddha. These are not men who are interested in building up people or large movements, but they teach a simple truth that is beyond that of which the mind can grasp. And what do we do when we truly find the religion of the heart? It means we have to go inside of ourselves, because real religion is about going within oneself, not depending upon ministers and books and people, but beginning to trust what lives within us. There's an interesting dilemma that affects many of us in our life. The dilemma kind of works this way. What happens when you and I have a problem that is bigger than what our mind can understand? Bigger than what our mind believes in, bigger than our mind has ever proposed before to us? Where do we go? Most people try to find a philosophy or a religion just to comfort them, but that's never enough for those of us who seek the truth. We have to go with a deeper journey, a journey to our heart, not to our head, not with another book, another philosophy, another religion, but to seek to go inside of ourselves. That is probably the most difficult journey and the strangest journey, the most frightening journey a person can make. If I may use the Star Trek attitude, where no man dares to go is within themselves. It's interesting how we will explore everything else but ourselves. The story that we just offered to you about the man who was a woodcutter, going to make some furniture, but he wouldn't cut down a tree or use a tree unless the tree gave wholehearted permission to use itself. That's reverence for life. That's living wholeheartedly from ourselves. And that's what it's all about if you begin to really feel it. This life wasn't meant to be thought out. It isn't meant to be analyzed. There's no real reason or purpose for the life experience we're in. We're here because we're here to explore something that to us seems very foreign and very strange. Our inner self, our inner us, the you and me that lives within. If a person sits quietly for a while, without the distraction of people and objects and things, you begin to feel this little pull on the inside. And the pull is very important. It reminds me of a little story about a boy who was sitting there flying a kite. And as he was flying the kite got so far up into the sky, you couldn't even see it. And a man walked by and he said, "Son, what are you doing?" He says, "Flying my kite." He says, "Well, how do you know what's up there? It's so far away, I can't see it." And he says, "I can feel the pull." And it's very much of what's going on within us to feel the pull of our heart. It's in our heart that real religion is born. The religion that takes us deep inside of ourselves. How few of us ever choose to really take that journey, because that journey is a difficult one. It requires of us not to think and analyze, It requires us to let go. It makes us, in a strange kind of way, very vulnerable. And it means feelings. We're going to have to move towards our feelings. Again, I want to reiterate the difference between emotion and feeling, because this seems to be an issue with most people that they don't understand. Emotions make us reactionary. They make us rebound. We start fighting. We react off things when we're emotional. But when we're feeling, we're getting to the core of things. We're starting to understand the nature of how things work. The very language of the universe is not through intellect, not through knowledge, but through feelings. What we try to do religiously is build up attitudes about religion. We build the idea that there's a heaven and a hell. Or we build the attitude intellectually that there is some sort of thing called reincarnation. Whatever philosophy you look at, whatever one you believe in, it's not important. What's important is, will you take the journey within yourself into a deep, dark part of yourself that hasn't got a lot of light because we've never been there before, a place that your mind doesn't want to go. Believe me, where you and I really are is not a place that we can go to with our minds. We have to go to it in our heart. And as we look in the deep, dark caverns of our being, we're afraid if we go much further, we just might disappear. That's the risk we have to take. The risk of going within ourselves is about letting go of what we trust, what we believe in, and what is known. The mystery of life is to move into the unknown. And it means that we take that journey without reservation, without hesitation. We take the journey because we feel the pull inside, and we know if we don't take this journey, life will not be meaningful.
Just believe we can be everything. Aspire. We ever wanted to be. Aspire. To keep moving on and on.
You know, there are some places where the mind cannot take us. The mind is really a very limited tool. Ministers, teachers such as myself, books, they can only get you to the entrance. But eventually, you and I have to take the journey alone, by ourselves, into our heart, where we begin to touch the dark places of us. It takes a tremendous amount of personal courage to be able to do this, because we have to move through the places within us that the mind doesn't understand, that the mind is disoriented in. This is what meditation is all about. Sitting, doing nothing with all of your heart. All of a sudden you begin to realize, as you go through the dark night of the soul, as it's called, that there is something deeper to us other than our mind. Again, the deepest religion of life is not the religion of books. It's the religion of the heart. Sometimes it takes years to come out the other end, where we begin to see a little light, where we begin to realize what our experience was all about. But when we come out on the other side and we're willing to face the darkness of ourselves, to get to the light, to get to our heart, the rewards are immense. This inner work is not about becoming more knowledgeable, not about destination or place or where to go or where to be, how to be perfect or if there is perfection. It's about moving through the process of our life. It's about moving through ourselves. And when a person is willing to move through themselves, they begin to find that the heart is the only journey that there is. The difficulty of all this is that you can't bring your mind into that hollow space. The mind doesn't have the capacity to move through that. The difficult part for me has been, in the brief little moments that I've had in moving into my heart, is that you have to drop the mind. It's a mystery. It's a mystery that cannot be solved. It's one that has to be lived. The art of life is to feel your heart, to move into the heart, to allow ourselves the opportunity to be in it. It means that we have to abandon everything that we believe in. It means we have to abandon intellect, reason. If you look at the great masters, Buddha, Jesus, Lao Tzu, Chuang-Tzu, these are people who were not well educated, not well schooled. These are people who did something miraculous. They followed what they felt, not what they thought. That's what the true religion of life is all about. It's not about books, ministers. It's about feelings, getting in touch with our feelings, and having the courage to go beyond what most people call rational thought, to get into something that is so deeply mystical and at times so disorienting that it's almost frightening. Meditation is what that's all about. One will never find the inner work to be of any value, of any great insight, unless one practices sitting in silence. Silence is everything. In silence, we hear the language of life. We feel the movement of life. We feel the way of the heart. Sometimes I have difficulty as I look at life. Difficulty moving with my heart. It's frightening. I wonder where I'll be, what I'll be like, what will happen to me. Those kind of thoughts are really ridiculous when you start to understand what this process is all about. I always take this one very important attitude. I could drop dead at any moment. Maybe I should drop dead now. Ready? No. And if I did, what would be the value of my life? Would I look at my life and say the value of my life was in the things I did, the things I said, the things I accomplished, the people I met, the books I read? That'll all be destroyed with death. So what's left? The measure of a person's life isn't where they went or what they did, but how much they felt. Did they feel anything in their life? Could I give? Could I give without a reason? Could I give without the idea of architecting some kind of return? Could I give out of compassion and love? Could I forgive? Could I feel the moment and the significance of each and every moment of my life? Could I let go of things? Could I let go of my fears? Could I let go of my worries? Could I let go of my pride? Those are the measures of a person's life. I don't think we really live until we feel. The real religion of life has nothing at all to do with the things that we read about, the intellectual precepts, the concepts, the beliefs. Those are the things that keep us locked in here. Life is viewed from in here, from in the heart. The person who is very wise is the person who's like a little child. A little child who is innocent enough within themselves not to be thinking about what's going on around them, but they feel life from within themselves. They have the courage to follow those feelings, and that's what life is all about. If you've had enough books, if you've had enough speeches, if you've had enough classes, if you've had enough tapes, and you're ready for the true experience, then please remember, all a teacher such as myself or anyone who cares about you can do is lead you to the heart. But you have to be willing to go through it yourself. Where does he come up with this stuff? Is it really that easy? So the weird part of all of this is the weird shock is that we have to actively be involved in our own spirituality. It's not something that we can just read or philosophize. It's something that's real. It's something that we must practice. And it means one of the most dangerous things in life, letting go of the things that we believe in for our heart. Okay, what question do you have this week? As usual, this is all easy for you to say. How do you know when you're listening to your head or you're listening to your heart? The mind's always telling us what to do, where to go, what we'll get when we'll get there. It's always destination oriented. Mind's always telling us what the value of things are. The heart isn't telling us things like that. Heart's telling us about the significance of our life. It's giving us the feeling for the most important thing in life, which is the moment. It's not giving us destination and purpose. There's an old saying in Zen I've always liked, that when we begin to enter into the silence within ourselves, if we just sit there and let things go, spring will come and the grass grows by itself. We don't need to do anything. There is no place else to be but where we are. The mind is always causing a resistance in our life, saying, don't do this and do that, and don't like this and do like that. Whereas the heart is saying, accept things as they are. The interesting thing about the heart, Gregory, is that it allows you to accept the unacceptable, to be with the things that most frighten us. The difference between the mind and the heart, it's obvious. One's saying no, the other one, the heart, is always saying yes. All right, what else is on your mind? So are you saying that we shouldn't go to church? I knew you'd do something like that. I know how you are. I'm not saying you shouldn't go to church. I'm not saying you shouldn't do anything. I'm saying take a look at it. If you've gotten stuck and you don't want to move anywhere with yourself, if you don't want to feel anymore, stay doing what you're doing. It doesn't bother me. It's not up to me. But if there's something you want to feel for the first time in your life, please remember, that none of us as teachers, ministers, gurus, or whatever you want can get you to where only you can get yourself. The sad part about churches, to me, is that it's a passive thing. It's almost like entertainment with people. We go to a church that most of all says the things that we want to hear. When it doesn't say the things we want to hear, we disagree with it and say it's bad, especially in this country. I'm saying, look, you'll never get there just by sitting in church. You got to do more than just sit there. You've got to get actively involved with yourself. You have to start looking inside of yourself, going through the tunnel. You're going to have to look at the dark side of you, and you're going to have to be interested enough to want to go through that process. If you're not, Gregory, it doesn't matter what you talk about, who you listen to, or what. You'll just be sitting there passively as though you're in an audience watching another person's life and a movie of someone else. It'll never be your experience. And at the end of your life, the sad part will be you've heard what everybody's had to say, but you don't have anything within yourself to relate to because you've lost the feel of your life. All right. What else, Greg? Well, you know, I really do want to meditate, but I have a hard time turning off my head. What begins first, the thought or the thinker? Which comes first, the chicken or the egg? Thoughts are going to stream past our minds. We're going to have all sorts of thoughts. Some of the thoughts are going to be kind of gnarly and gruesome. Some of them may be worrisome and hurtful. Some of them may be about the future and the past. But please remember, the moment you and I start looking at a thought and going, that one's important, and I should be thinking about that one, and oh boy, that one scares me. As long as we keep doing that, then the thoughts are going to catch us. And as they catch us, they've got us. I always say this to people. Remember what we've said? That we are more interested in our thoughts than our thoughts are interested in us. Thoughts are just thoughts. They don't mean anything. They're not a sign of anything, and we've all got them. It's you, Gregory, who chooses which thought you're going to be intrigued with and which thought you're going to believe in and which thought you're going to follow. And if a thought catches you and you start following it, you become a thinker. And it's an I gotcha kind of thing. The object is to let thoughts go by passively, not to be moved by them, but just to let them go by. As the old saying in Zen is, be a watcher on the hill. Watch them go by. And pretty soon you'll begin to see that when thoughts are gone, your basic fear of life will be dissolved. You will still be there, but this time with greater consciousness, greater insight, greater love, and greater awareness. Namaste, Greg. Well, that's getting easier for me to say now, too. I think one of the things that most people do not understand about the struggle that we have in our life is that we are not struggling against life or for life. Basically, what we're working against is our heart. It's the head versus the heart. At all situations in life, when we are struggling, it's the head versus the heart. What I feel versus what I think. The heart looks so foreign to us. It wants to do things that our head thinks is ridiculous, that look subservient to foolishness. Like the heart will say, give, and the head will say, why should we? We don't have enough to give. We hardly have enough for ourselves. The heart will say, forgive. The head will say, absolutely, don't do that, because if you forgive, they'll do it to you again. The heart will say, let it go. The head will say, let's hold on to it. We have this struggle all the time, head versus heart, and yet I say to you, Jesus said it, Buddha said it, they all say the same thing, that the only way to God is through the heart, not through the head. And yet we continue to struggle with our head, thinking it can get us into ourselves, and it can't. The head is always trying to take you away from how you feel. Don't be foolish. Look within yourself. I love what Buddha said. He said, see how you love and what keeps you from the journey. Whoa. How do you and I love? And that's the key. Because it's only the heart that gets us in. He doesn't say, see how you think, see how you analyze, see how much you've learned, and that will keep you from your journey or even be your journey. He says, see how you love. What strings do you attach to what you call love? Because it's the way we love, it is the way we feel, and which gets us to ourselves. God is not found through the head again and again. Remember this. God is found through the heart in us. Heart is the only way through. And it is the most frightening part because it makes us look and think that we are foolish when we are not. You've got to get over that. You've got to be willing to take the risk and the leap inside your heart. If you're willing to do that, then all things are possible. This particular program, I'm sure, was a bit challenging for some of you, and it's the one that most people kind of hesitate about. The way of the heart is a difficult way because it looks, again, so strange to us, so foreign. I'm really grateful that you choose to be with us, and I hope you understand what we're trying to do with Aspire. This isn't a program that's trying to convert you or change you or make you a better person. Our contribution is offering to you the alternative that is beyond philosophy and religion. It's about the process of living our life from within rather than from without. Thank you for letting me be with you, and I hope to see you next week on Aspire. Namaste.